Welcome to the 1 Minute Barber YouTube channel. We've got a boy's haircut today and Hugo's come along to help us out again.
Hello.
The key things to learn in this haircut are going to be the shape that I leave overall, and I'll show you how to do that. He wants to keep the fringe just on his eyebrows, but I want to take it up to the eyebrow but take some weight from behind the fringe, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And just at the back here, we're going to taper it in and build up in towards the occipital bone so that we've got a little bit more weight on top and the crown still has a little bit of length, but still something we can style and it doesn't look out of place. The first thing I'm going to do right at the back in the middle of the head is go in with a number 3 up to the occipital bone. That's this bone that protrudes the most. So starting at the bottom, teeth in, and then all the way up and off the occipital bone. So up like that. When we hit the occipital bone, just come off. Move around to the side of the back of the head, just keep going up. You can see on the back of the head here that there's hair growing kind of in this direction, so what we want to do is go against that. So let's go this way. And then here again, straight up to that occipital bone area. On the side of the head, you've got the parietal ridge, which is very similar to the ridge formed by the occipital bone. It's the bit that protrudes the most on the side of the head. So I'm going to work up towards that on the side of the head. That should really be your guide. Now, one thing I would say is when you're working around the ear, keep one side of the clipper guard on the head and one off the head. So the high side of the guard, keep that off the head. You're basically just cutting with half of the clipper blade. I'm just going to pull this hair forward here just to keep it out of the way of the clipper when I'm working up with the clipper. And look, straight up like this. Something you might have noticed while I'm cutting here is that this clipper blade does not sound like it's cutting very well, and that's because it's not. If you haven't bought a Stylecraft clipper yet, then don't until you see my next video, because there is quite a maintenance cost with them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Hugo to tuck his chin down a little bit, and that will flatten this area here, which makes it easier for me to get the clipper in. And then what I'm going to do is crisscross to try and get into this indentation at the back of the neck. Many people have that, and it's especially on kids. That's where you find the indentation. So I'm going to move to a 2.5 because that will join the 2 and the 3. I'm going to do the half up to about here. There's a little line there, so 2.5. Just working up just a little bit higher than the ear, but not much. Okay, we'll hold the ear down out of the way, get the teeth right under. Now look, I'm keeping this side of the clipper off the head, and I'm just going round with this corner of the guard on the head there, and that's going to allow me just to taper around the edges here. The little trimmer is very soft just here, so I'm just going to square that off. And remove the fluff from the face. And then just use the very corner of the trimmer to go around the ear. So I'll hold the ear out of the way. And the other side. So I'm only looking for the hair that's sticking out around the hairline. So on the back of the neck, we've got kids here and it's kids skin, so you want it to be straight. So I've asked him to tuck his chin down again a little bit, and then I'm gonna cut down, straight down from the ear down to the nape of the neck, and we want the skin quite tight, okay? So I've just removed all the fluff on this side of the line. At the back of the head, just remove any of the fluff that's below the hairline. So you can tell between neck hair and head hair, there's a very strong line. So just remove all the fluffy stuff below the hairline. Same line here. Just pull the ear out of the way, put the comb in and just tilt it out like so. And again, just holding the ear down, flip out with the comb, just to pull any long hair out. So I'm just going to square this area here, but then put the comb in and just tilt out a little bit. And I'm going to trim away this little corner that I've raised up with the teeth of the comb. That's going to give me a slightly softer finish on this edge. And then corner of the clipper again up around the ear. And pull the fringe out of the way and trim this, just lift it up with the comb. And then we're ready to cut the top. So when we're cutting on the top with scissors, let's just wet the hair down. If you're wondering about this bottle, this is a Flairosol bottle, by the way. I always use these. They are very good for spraying quite an even and constant water out, and they're very cheap. I mean, less than 10 bucks. I will leave the link to my Amazon shop below and you can check them out if that's something you're interested in. What I need to do is create a guideline that goes from the fringe all the way to the occipital bone on the back of the head. So what I'm going to do is I'll pull all this hair forward and I'm going to separate out a section for me to pick up. So if I pick this up in the middle here, and I can just cut. I'm going to go with about this, but I'm going to get longer towards the front because remember he wants a longer fringe. So keep going with this, and at the front here, okay, rather than lifting at 90 degrees to the curve of his forehead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift up and I'm going to just pull my fingers up, and that's going to make it longer at the fringe. So that guideline, if I pull this hair forward at the back here, I can actually pick up and I can follow all the way back to the occipital bone as well. Let me just turn your head that way a little bit, Hugo, so people can see. And like this here as well. And right down. Okay, so I have a shape going all the way around like that. Now if I get you to put your head forward again there, Hugo, and what I'm going to do is use the point of this YS Park comb, and I'm just going to drag across the scalp and follow with my fingers, comb that out of the way, and I can pick up my first section. Now in the middle, of course, is the short hair from my guideline and long hair either side of it, so I can cut down to that, and if I comb forward and pick up another section, I should see my guideline right in the middle again. There it is. So I'll just keep working my way forward on that guideline. Now you can see it looks like there's a lot of hair coming off here, but as I work towards the front, I'm going to over direct back. That means I'm going to pull it further back, and that'll prevent me from obliterating the length at the front. So closer to the front, and I'm going to pull that whole fringe right back now, and trim. Right, so we've gone right down the middle. Let's go down this side now. And remember, because we've cut a big section down the middle, I should be able to pick up some of that along the way and see the short hair that I need to cut in my section. So let's comb that forward, pick it up, and this is the length that I want to cut to here because it's in the middle where my guideline was. So I know that if I work my way forward, cutting to that length, that's keeping me on the right track. Now, if barbering is something that you're interested in, I do also teach barbering on Udemy, and I will leave a link down below for my Udemy course. I've got 2 courses on there. One of them is an introduction to barbering. It's about 3 hours long, and then there's another one which is a gents scissor cutting course, which is only 1 hour long, but there is some free lessons on there, and if that's all you want to see, go and have a look because you can get them for nothing. And if you are more interested, sign up and I'll see you in there. So on this side of the head, remember we went down the middle and we went down this side. So now we want to go down this side. So let's comb all this over to the side here. And when I pick up, I should be able to see the short hair on this side. There it is, and there's some long hair. So if I cut that down, that'll keep me correct on this side of the head. There's that short hair. One thing you'll notice I do is I don't come over like this quite yet. I'm going to do that closer to the side so that I can blend the side and the top together. But on this sort of area here, we want to kind of lift 90 degrees up, straight up. At the front, just pull right back. What I'm going to do now is comb this forward but keep this down, okay? And you can see that there's a heavy weight line there. This is what we need to blend in now. So the way to do that is to go in with the comb, flip it out, and just trim straight up the fingers. That graduates from short into the longer hair. Because I'm picking my section up and I'm tilting my fingers out, at the top of the fingers it's longer, so we're working up into longer hair. So we've removed most of that weight line, but what I need to do is go in with the comb and the scissors and just scissor over comb. So keep the scissor moving, keep the bottom blade in line with the spine of the comb, and just work your way up, like so. Okay, scissor over comb again. So at the front, we are just going to leave this right on the eyebrow. So the best way to do that, scissor in under the fringe, pull the fringe out on the comb and just leave it resting on the eyebrow. So this hair underneath the comb, that can come off. I'm going to chip that away. Okay, that means it's relaxed and it's in a straight line. Again on this side. And just here. Now a good way to tie in the fringe and the side is to move along the parietal ridge as if it's going into the fringe. So anything that's hanging below that invisible line right about there, you can take that off to join all this hair together. So if I go in there and you can see there's some hair hanging below, I just remove that That gives me nice flow going in there. So on the crown, I'm going to add a little bit more water. Right, add a little bit more water, and what I'm going to do is just lift this up here and angle out. And I'm looking for long hairs that would be sticking out. Okay, I'll comb across and then angle out again. There we are, some long hair to come off, and I'm going to work across. To take weight from the occipital ridge here, what I like to do is go in with the scissor just above the occipital ridge and pick up and then take a little bit of hair away, and then I'm going to work my way down towards that occipital ridge. And that's taking weight, so I'm taking weight all the way down, but less and less as I work my way down, so less and less heavy on that ridge. Right. Alright, so we're almost there. We've got this just about the eyebrow level there, and I'm going to style it with a little bit of Hair Bond Distorter. It's one of my favourite products. I love Hair Bond stuff.
What stuff?
Hair Bond.
You're not using that in my hair. Huh?
So put a small amount all over your hands and then just work it into the hair. Get it all over, okay? The reason that you work it into your hands is that if you just put it on your fingertips and work it from the front forwards, you end up with these localized clumps in the hair. Now, if you're using matte clay and you feel like it looks a little bit wet or whatever, you can dry it with a hairdryer, and that'll evaporate some moisture out of it. It's like baking a cake, this. A very poorly behaved cake.
Thank you, 1 Minute Barber.
You're welcome, Hugo. And by the way, Hugo has his own channel, and I'll leave a link for that down below. This was a simple haircut. It turned out nice and tidy for Hugo. I hope you found some useful information in here. If there's any more information that's missing, anything you want to know or any questions, hit me down below and I'll answer them if I can. Until next time, I'm just going to leave you with a little outtake of me trying to cut my producer's hair. Introduce yourself, tell the camera.
Well, I'm
Who you
Rosa
are.
Home, and my dad's doing my hair. So if you just want to follow me on YouTube, I'll...
What are you going to be called?
The 3-minute...
The 3-minute barber. You said the 2-minute barber to me.
No, I meant the YouTube channel, and sorry, Hugo, but...
You could be the Rascal Barber.
The
The Trouble Barber.
no.